Well, hello all. My name's David, and you are welcome to Davidsbirdroom. Come on in. Well, it's good seeing you all again, and I say welcome back to Davidsbirdroom. In this month's episode, I'm going to let you see what has been happening in Davidsbirdroom during the month of January. Also, stick around, the results of the Miniature Mule Bird Show will be coming up, so stay tuned for that, and we'll let you see what's happened. So we'll get right into it now and let you see what's been happening Davidsbirdroom during the month of January. Well, as you can probably imagine, the first couple of weeks in January, there's very little happening inside the birdroom. The birds, as I always say, they're going through that winter phase. They're settled down, they're resting, they're just taking life easy. First 2 weeks January, first, second, third week in January, I had all my hens in the big flight cage. All the cockbirds, as I showed you in the last month, all the cockbirds had been all in these cages and all in it. So they've got plenty of room to fly about, exercise, and just keep fit and well and healthy during the month of January. During that time, they were on a basic plain mixed canary seed. A lot more plain canary seed was added into it, which gave them just a basic mix. Well, since then, now we're on the last week in January. This is when I now start to make the preparations towards my breeding program. I have, prior to that, I have selected all the birds that I will be keeping for this incoming season. I know what cockbirds I have, I know what hens I have, and I have a good idea what pairs I will be putting together. So with that all done, that's a big part on it, is getting the right pair selected in order to move forward in the quality of the line of birds that you want to breed. That takes a bit of experience, a bit of work, always looking, watching, and knowing what you're looking for, just to try and create that perfect bird for the show bench. But anyways, as I say, cockbirds all flying about, hens. I now, in the last week in January, where the breeding preparations all started, inside my birdroom now, I only have cockbirds. I have no hens in here at all cockbirds. So there's probably 35 cockbirds, but I won't have 35 pair. There's a few birds along the bottom here. These are all cockbirds, but those are all sort of spare cockbirds. Some of them are old birds, they're retired birds, they're birds that I just have. They stay there just for the sake of they're there. I'm going to keep them. They can spend the rest of the days there. You know, they'll not be paired up. These birds is for my next generation. But where's all my hens? They're all moved out of this yet. And I have them all in my outside aviary. So they're all in the outdoor, in the natural environment. So they're out in a great big flight, enjoying the fresh air, and that's what hopefully for me will bring them into condition. So they'll get all the elements. It's going to tighten them all up. They will then, I will start to give them the conditioned seed food, but they will get their they will get their greens, they will get all their bits and pieces. But whenever it comes round to the breeding time, I will then have all my cockbirds all boosted on in here. And I can actually sort of boost them on by giving them extra daylighters. So I could get the cockbirds about a fortnight ahead of the hens. And I'll get them into cages on their own. They will be bouncing mad, waiting on the hens coming in. So whenever I bring the hens in from the aviary and go to pair them up, hopefully they will start to breed right away. Because the hens will, one, they will not be fat. They'll be out in that flight. It's a great big aviary, plenty of exercise, so they'll definitely not be fat. They'll be fit, they will be healthy. And if you have fit and healthy birds, they should breed. There should be no reason why they don't breed. So then it's all down to my management. If they don't breed, I can't blame the birds. If I can do this now, get them prepared, get them fit and healthy and not overweight. If they don't breed, my fault, because it's bad management just. So there's nobody to blame but myself. People go, I had a bad breeding season. Oh, the weather was bad, it was too hot, it was too cold. I didn't do this, I didn't do that. It's all down to self-management. Can't really blame all the elements for your faults. Bad management. But nobody, I never ever accepted that. Always blame the birds. Can't blame the birds. Don't blame the birds. So what I'm going to show you here is what I'm going to mix up as a conditioning food to start the birds and to get them into condition. This I'll probably not use throughout the whole season, but it's what I'm going to mix up now to get them boosted on, to bring them in. And I'll get this probably once a week. First thing I've done, and this, I don't know if you can see it or not. Where do I see? That. It's sprouted seed. It's soaked seed. As you can see, all the little seeds have chitted and have all started to sprout. So this is done. This tin is actually a sieve. So it gets filled up with that, and the water gets sieved out through that into that. Fill that up with water, put about a Vanadine V18 into it, and that keeps it sterilised, keeps it all nice and clean, keeps it all fresh. The soaked seed I mix in with my egg food. Everybody has their own egg food. That brand there, it's called a King egg food. Basic egg mix. Everybody has their own wee mix. That's just what I have, not any particular reason. Soaked seed has been mixed in with egg food. So this is a soaked seed egg food mix. So that in itself is enough to get the birds started off. But what I've done, a little bit extra, one egg. I have about 30 cockbirds here, so I have one egg. What I've done, mashed it all up, put it in the microwave, and broke it all up. So this I'll add to the egg food mix and the soaked seed. And give that a good mixing in around. That dish, that one dish there, will feed all of the 30 odd plus cockbirds I have here. Plus, it'll feed the hen canaries that are in the outside flight. And that is enough to get them started. Just to get them boosted on, just to get them into the way of going. You don't really want to start off giving them too much at the very beginning and bringing them on too quickly. It's a gradual form. The biggest part of the conditioning for me is the natural daylighters. The natural daylighters does it all. The lengthening of the days, we now really have, we have 45 minutes extra, nearly an hour extra light hours now from what I had from way before Christmas. So you can see every evening, 15 minutes nearly every day, it's getting brighter, the birds are starting to come into condition, and that is as big a thing as any, the lengthen, the extra daylight hours that we get. So this is what my birds will get now. Each of them, like the birds in the single cages, will get one wee finger drawer. The cockbirds that are in the flight cages, it's one egg drawer, and that will do the birds that are in these cages. All these cockbirds are all in that flight cage, so they'll all get, they're all in that community. So they're all going to get that. They just love it. The birds just love it. Okay. I'm going to try and keep things as simple as possible, going back to basics. I think we've all sort of gone too far ahead of ourselves. Birds need to get this, and the birds need to get that. We have to give them that. We must do this, we must do that. And you go through all these wee things. You try this, you try that, only to get disappointed. And it's probably all down to mismanagement and misuse of those products. The products themselves are probably 100% if given as instructed. But none of us really read those instructions to the full. You get a product because you heard my mate down the road, he uses it and he reared 100 birds. Must be great stuff, I'll get that. And you throw it in and you mix it up, you feed it to your birds, and then at the end of the season you go, that doesn't work. And it's all because you didn't use it right. The product in itself was probably 100%. All the technology has been put into it before the boys put it out on the market to sell. It has been tried, tested. If it's done right, it'll work. But if you use it with this, if you use it with that, a wee bit of this and a wee bit of that, you don't know what's happening. And you actually tip the balance of all the good stuff that you're giving them. And too much of a good thing isn't a good thing. So I am going to revert back to basics, the way I'd done it 20 years ago. Working with this, bit of greens, bit of soak seed, bit of egg. The egg, when I have the young birds in the nest, I won't be giving the egg to them. And the only reason for this, and I don't know if it's right or not, but anyway, the only reason for that is it creates a bit of yellow pigment within the bird because of the yellow lutein that's in the egg. And with the colour canaries, the young birds then come out and they have stronger yellow coloured flights. But within a colour canary, a young bird, you like to get it as nice a white a flight as possible. And with feeding egg, you're adding that bit of colour into them. But where do we tip the balance there? Because there's nothing better than a good egg for the birds. I cut back on using eggs a lot of years ago, and I'm thinking to myself, should I? So I'm going to, hey, go back to basics, go back to the old ways of doing it, and work it that way. But anyway, for now, this is what I'm going to give the birds for now. Get them all started. They're getting their fresh water, they're getting their fresh seed mix, bit of this egg food. This is a Sunday morning, so they're going to get this on the Sunday morning. They'll get it next Sunday, and we'll just boost it on and keep them all going. So I hope you find what I'm doing of sort of use to you. Like, everybody has their own wee way of doing things. I've saw it in all different programs. This man does this and this man does that, and we've tried this and we've tried that. And everybody, and what they're doing is not wrong, not by any means. But we all have a different way of doing the same thing. And it is all the same thing, but we all have our own wee tweaks and all this and that there. So I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. Well, as you may have noticed, my new logo, got a new logo done for Davidsbirdroom. Davidsbirdroom YouTube program has been going 1 year now. It started last January. But as you can see on the logo, Davidsbirdroom, established 1979. That has been the length of time that I have been actually keeping my birds. I've had the birds prior to that as a young schoolboy, but 79, probably I left school then, I was earning my own money, I could afford then to keep my own birds, and they were my own birds. They were coming out, money was coming out of my pocket, and I was paying for the birds. So Davidsbirdroom has been established since 1979. Well, since then, I've gone through quite a few different types of birds to get to where I am today. I would have started off like the family. My father and my grandfather had pigeons, they had canaries, they were greyhound people, they had all this. So I grew up in an animal sort of world with greyhounds, pigeons, canaries, finches. So I wasn't getting away from it, it was going to be there. But in the early days, the school days, I would have had zebra finches. I bred away the wee zebra finches, all the wee white pied, chestnut flanks, done the whole lot. Java sparrows was always a big favourite of mine. I really always loved the Java sparrows. I had all the different colours, all the nice wee pieds, the grey pieds, the fawns, the whites. So loved the Java sparrows. Even through a period that I had cockatiels in the aviary, and I bred a whole lot of cockatiels. And even then, the colours always got to me. So I always bred the lovely cinnamon pearl pieds and all the different colours. Budgies, I went through a phase of having budgies. And again, it wasn't the big green, blue show budgies I went for. It was the small colour type. And I had went for all the yellow-faced blues, the spangles, all the different colours, the rainbows. It was colour in the canaries and the birds that always attracted me. I always wanted to sort of breed a different colour, and that's what sort of kept me going. But many years ago, my father probably had a few red canaries, and I always liked the red canaries. Those days, the red canaries, well, there was a little small red, and it wasn't even red. I remember an old man in Limavady here where I lived, and he used to call them apricots. They were red, orange, and apricots. And you know something, they would nearly come out through the hole in the drinker. They were that fine and narrow wee bird. But my first reds I got them from this wee man in Limavady, and he probably would have had them in his wee coal shed, wee back cement shed out in the back garden. Probably no lights, no, nothing fancy. A couple of wee wooden cages that they made up themselves with wire fronts on them. But that would have been my colour canaries. I would have got them probably 77, 78. I would have got my first of these wee small birds. But then I progressed on, worked on with them, and realised that there was more to the red factor than these little apricots, as this man had called them. So then I got interested in them, got into the show scene. So I've been keeping the colour canaries now since the early 80s. So 1980, I would have had some good showbirds then. Well, they weren't showbirds compared to what I have now, what is on the market now, because same again, they had went through a phase of trying to find what a red canary was, and there was people that were breeding bigger birds into them to make them bigger size. They lost the colour, but they're more sizable. But then we eventually got it standardised. The colour was there, they bred into them. But colour was my thing. But anyway, back to where I say, 1 year on here at Davidsbirdroom, YouTube, great seeing you all again. And the reason basically for starting off the YouTube program was because of the fact we couldn't get out and about to see other people's birds. I couldn't go to shows, people couldn't come and visit me, so I thought to myself, I am going to take my birds to the people. And with a big thanks to a few people that I had been watching that have their YouTube programs. We have young Oliver out there, OC Avery, great inspiration to me, watching his YouTube programs. We have Matt in the Canary Room, Shane, the Direct Bird Products. Those three guys have inspired me to do this and to talk to you today and share what I have in my boardroom. So I'd like to thank those three guys because they were the boys that I was out looking about and watching on the YouTubes. And as I say, it has inspired me to share with you. And I hope you enjoy what I'm giving you the way I have enjoyed watching them. And if you do get a chance, check those three boys out. Very, very good. Even today, now since I have been on the go, there has been a few new boys come along and sharing their part. So, have a wee look. We have Canary TV. That's a new one out. There's another one that I actually like watching. It's called Breeding Dinosaurs, Breeding Avian Dinosaurs. He's very interesting. I like watching his wee programs. So there's a few of them out there. There's quite a few to name them all, but those are just a few that I would sort of be watching steady. But I'm glad I can share with you what I have here today. So it's been great seeing you all, and we'll catch up, and hopefully someday we'll get to meet you in person somewhere out along the road, on the show thing, wherever. And the results are in now from the Miniature Mule Show we had in our last episode. Do you remember we had number 1, 2, 3 and 4, and your choice was, in 4th place was our dark Goldfinch Mule. In 3rd place we had number 2, the Siskin Mule. In 2nd place, and a very, very tight 2nd place it was number 1, the Variegated Mule. So your choice, and number 1, best in show in the Miniature Mule, was number 3, the Variegated Mule. Thank you all for taking part. It was all very enjoyable, and it was great getting feedback from you all. We'll do it all some other time again. But for now, the winner is number 3, the Variegated Mule. So I'm going to go now, get my little birds all fed up, and I'll be back again February and let you know what's been happening during the month of February. So please call back in again. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe, tell your friends. Good to see you all. Bye bye.